All right, we're going to get started. So we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming to Coffee with the Principal today. I've got a bunch of things to go over, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. Great news for More Than a Meal campaign. Every single family turned in an application. So 100%, I'm really happy. And now another thing has come through. So you probably got home a school experience survey, a paper survey. You can either do it paper or online, and I will try to make sure that it gets posted, the link online. This really helps us, number one, to hear back from parents about what their experience is as a school experience survey. And it also helps us, again, if we have high percentage of responses. So if you can get a chance, it does take about 10 minutes to do, so just kind of give yourself time. But it also helps the district to see that our parents are happy and that we are responsive to them and that kind of thing. So as you're answering the questions, remember that this is going to district level data. So just kind of keep that in mind. The 15-week grades were we just finished on Friday, and they were printed, the report cards were printed yesterday, so you should get them in a couple of days. 15-week are a progress report. So the only grade that ever matters is the 20-week, which will be in December. So right now, what we've been saying to the girls is this is kind of your last push between the 15 and the 20 week to raise your grade and make it where you want it to be, or keep the grade where it is. We have instituted, the teachers really wanted to do a final schedule this year where they actually have final exams so that the kids get used to that. They're definitely going to have that in college, and they will count a lot more in college than they do here. But it is just for, especially in the middle schools, for them to have that experience. Like, what's it like to take a final exam and be under that pressure and be able to go through the exam schedule. So the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I think it's the 12th, 13th, and 14th of December are going to be minimum days. They'll have 2 finals every day. They'll have a break, and then they'll have lunch, and then they'll be released after lunch, so 12:30. That also allows our teachers to have enough time to grade all the finals and finish their final grades and do all that in between 12:30 and 3:30. So it gives them a little bit of extra time. A little bit of news. We got.
What does minimum day mean? What time will that be?
12:30. So right after lunch, where we normally have lunch from 12 to 12:30. So
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that week. And then a question was, what was the question? Was what does minimum day mean? Because they don't they won't hear the question on here. So, so it's 12:30. It'll be our dismissal. We got 2 small grants we're really excited about. One was from the Women's Giving Circle, which is just this amazing group of women that have all come together and given a little bit of money so that they can grant to women's organizations. So we went to the dinner last night. It was pretty amazing. We were one of 3 grantees. One was an organization that takes tattoos off of women so that they can get better jobs, so that if they have any visible tattoos, they can have those taken off. And then they do job counseling. The other one was a organization that we hope to partner with. It's an organization that allows girls to get the experience of being horseback riding. And they also have a little farm so that they get experience with farming. So we're hoping to do a field trip there. So that was a very good. Something just happened with this. Okay, that was a really good connection. And then we also got a small grant so that we can buy microscopes, which we're really happy about. So really nice microscopes. We're going to get 10 microscopes with that. And then thank you to Stacy and the grant committee for helping us write those. We've been working really hard writing grants, and we're going to continue to write them. And if anyone wants to join us and help us write them, it would be great. On the subject of writing, we are undergoing WASC accreditation, Western Association of Schools and Colleges, accredit schools, and that's what means that your high school diploma means something. If you're not accredited, it doesn't It doesn't mean anything. So the reason why we're doing it now is because our high school girls need to be able to count their classes that they're taking towards their college application, but we're going to accredit 6th through 12th grade. So we should have a draft of what our accreditation is going to look like to share with parents in the next couple of weeks. So I'll probably ask for a committee of parents that might be interested in just reviewing that, adding then their information as parents to just help us with that, because it's really important to have parent, student, teacher, and admin perspectives on when we're writing a WASP plan. And a WASP plan is basically, this is what we think we're doing great, this is what we're not doing so great, and we want to change. So you're doing an action plan for the next 6 years. These are the things we want to add in. So I mean, already off the top of my head, it's things like, we definitely want to add in a very rigorous arts program, those kinds of things that parents have been asking for, but we also know we really need. So I'll be putting something out probably in the newsletter for a date for people to come in and kind of take a look and give us input. And if you're interested in that, I welcome you. Our CIF basketball is starting next week. We're really, not next week, this week. This Friday is our first game, so we're really excited about that. Our CIF tennis season ended with, I think it was 25 girls that got letters, which means not only did they participate highly in the sport, but they also had a 3.5 or above. That's pretty amazing. So we're really excited about that. You probably all know, I hope by now, that we're having a dance show on November 30th and December 1st at 6 o'clock. And everyone will pretty much be in it. So it's one of the traditions we started last year. We'll continue this year, and probably not any longer, because 320 girls in a dance performance is a lot. So probably this will be last year we include everyone in. And then I just wanted to make everyone aware, UTLA, the Union for the Teachers, is probably going to be doing some picketing across the street at by the Memorial Library on this Thursday at 4. So if you're planning to pick up your child, just kind of keep that in mind. There's probably going to be a little bit more traffic than normal, but most teachers don't get off till 3:15, 3:30. So our regular pickup should be pretty smooth. It's just if you're coming after our regular pickup.
Is it informational? Or
I think it's just, no, it's not strike. It's informational picketing up just to get the word out about the things that they need. And then the last thing I wanted, two last things I want to talk about, and these are not announcement type things. These are things that we're kind of talking about as a faculty and as parents. Two things. One is about transitions, and we are, as you know, it's only our second year, so we're learning a lot. One of our frames last year was with 6th and 9th grade, it was, you're new to the school, we want you to feel welcome. We want to really help you get involved and make you feel very nurtured. And now those girls have moved to 7th and 10th grade. So the frame is changing a little. The teachers and the students and the parents are having a little bit of a difficulty with the transition to 7th and 10th. 7th and 10th is more, we want you to become an independent learner. You need to become independent and go to the teacher if you're having problems. And it's a big change for the students. So we're trying to really work with them to say, yes, in 6th and 9th grade, when you first came in, we were kind of like coming to you, oh, you didn't do your work, oh, your homework's due. Now we're expecting you to come to the teacher and come to office hours. So oftentimes the teachers will tell me they're sitting for office hours with 3 students, but really 20 need to be there. So for parents, I would say just encourage your daughters to go to office hours, to ask questions in class, to not get discouraged if their question doesn't get answered because the rest of the class understands that already, but to come to office hours, to stay after class, to do what they can for their own education, because that's now the frame we're shifting them to. And that will become even more important as they go to 11th grade and as they go to 8th grade. And as they continue on their education, especially as they move on to college, because they're going to take your money and they're going to just say, come to class or not come to class. So it's going to be up to them to really make sure they show up, make sure they ask questions, make sure they do the reading, all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to move them gently in that direction. And it is a new frame for a lot of our students, and some of them are falling down And just remember that our frame is you have to make mistakes to learn. So although we don't want them to make too many mistakes, they do have to make some of these mistakes and they have to stumble. And as much as we love them and want to make sure as parents and as teachers and as administrators that we're nurturing them and helping along, we do have to kind of stand back sometimes and let them fail and let them have problems and let them kind of work through those on their own. Now, obviously, if you're talking about a 7th grader, they're still, young. So you do want to guide them along, but we do want to let them kind of understand if I don't do these things, there's going to be consequences. And so that's something we're really trying to work with the 7th grade. Our 7th grade teachers and advisors are meeting together this week to kind of go, how can we help them a little bit more with this? Because I've come to a lot of the office hours and there aren't just a few kids in there. And there are many more kids that need to get help. So we're gonna definitely work on that with them. But if you can help us as parents just kind of enforce that they need to start taking responsibility for things. Because a lot of the reasons that the kids are not doing well, the ones that are not doing well, is they're just forgetting to turn things in, or they're not turning them in on time, or they're not putting enough attention into them.
I feel like I needed a webinar on Schoology because
I agree.
I
agree.
7th grader who, we're both like, what? I mean, I can't, these teachers like, did you see this? It's on the way. I should try to get on. I finally figured out how to get on. I've navigated a little bit, but I don't know if I missed the training on Schoology because I feel like, for me, I like to be able to look and that's how I can remind my kid. But if there's some way, maybe to help, I'm sure there's other parents that have that. And once you figure it out, it looks like it would be helpful, but it's very confusing for me.
Okay, so the question was for people online. Is there, can there be some kind of training on Schoology? It's basically I'm summarizing what you said. And yes, we need to have that. We did a very brief thing, I think towards the beginning of the year. But I think everybody was kind of so involved with the beginning of the year stuff, they didn't hear it. So I think it'd be really important. So we can schedule something, maybe an after school time that our tech teachers can kind of walk you through and just open it up to anybody who wants to come by and do it. So we'll definitely do that. Thank you. That's a great suggestion. And then the other thing I want to just talk about is gratitude and thankfulness since it's almost Thanksgiving. I just want to thank all of you for being involved with the school and continuing your involvement, even after maybe a year of being involved, still being involved the 2nd year, and I hope you'll be involved all the way through your child's education. It makes a huge difference. You as parents make a huge difference to the school. From everything from just giving me your opinion, which I do completely value, and it helps me get the view of parents, to, doing things like bringing coffee to the coffee with the principal, to doing large things like helping to write the grants. It's all very, very important to our school and makes our school what it is. And I also just want to, they're not here, but thank our teachers work so hard. It's amazing when you're here after school. I'm here pretty much most days till 6, and I usually have 3 or 4 teachers with me every day. They just work really hard, and they really believe in our mission of providing this education for girls in the city of LA, and they work extremely hard, as does our staff and our students. Their students are really involved. I love the fact that they will come make an appointment with me and sit with me in the office, and we have a little conference table and we talk about whatever their issues are, and they have some really valid points, and it's really great. And I just want to say I'm grateful to everyone in the school community for what you've done to build this so far, and we have a long way to go, but a year and a half we've done a lot, so thank you. That's all we really had.
Questions online.
Okay, questions from online or here.
So the first one was, what's the name of the course organization? And would you be interested in parents sending handwritten thank you notes to the organizations who donate to our school, just to provide a personal touch?
Oh, awesome.
Oh, I'm
So
going to do that. I'll volunteer for them.
The question is, what's the name of the organization, which I don't remember right now. I know it's located in Atwater. So it's close by, but it's equestrian something. I don't know what it's called. I'll have to look it up. And then the second question was, would I be interested in handwritten thank you notes? Absolutely. Yeah, usually Fogala writes something, and I write something, but to also have the parent or we're on the microscopes, we're actually going to take a picture of the girls once we get them, using them. Because I told them how exciting it was for us, especially I brought Miss Hill, our science department chair, with me to receive the grant, and she was just beside herself, like, we have microscopes finally, yay! Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's huge for us.
Okay.
So thank you.
The next question is, how much were the grants? Apparently, they only heard one of the 2 grants. So
The microscope one was it was an odd number because it was the exact amount for 10 microscopes. I think it was 2,900 and something. And the other grant, I think, was 2,000 to go towards technology. We also had received 2 grants for technology prior to this, so we're starting to figure out what we're going to buy. Hopefully more Chromebooks so that we don't have this situation where we're sharing. And, I mean, we'll still have that for a while until we get more, but right now, teachers are sharing and having to like go next door and borrow someone. They want their whole class to be one-on-one. So right now they're sharing them.
Also, one from the horse. Oh, someone else was answering someone else on there. And then, is it possible for the teachers to have some sort of performance assessment where the parents and children can give feedback? We would have experienced a big disparity between various teachers.
So a performance assessment for the teachers, I love that idea, especially from the students. I think it's really good. I know as a teacher at the end of every semester, I did do that with my students through high school. So I kind of said, be honest, but don't be too brutal. And they were great. I mean, they really told me the things that they felt they really appreciated about the class and the things that they didn't, and it helped me to grow as an educator. So I think it's a great idea. And I'll talk to the teachers about developing something that we feel is appropriate for middle school and appropriate for high school because they're kind of different frames. So, but I know that when I did a lot of integrated projects with, I was a history teacher with the English teacher, and they loved all of those. So that just encouraged us to do more. So hearing that kind of feedback is really helpful. It's a great idea.
That's pretty much it for that one.
Okay, anybody here have questions? Yes.
This is maybe not sort of a question, as sort of a reflection or a comment, and I'm still kind of working through how to deal with this because this might be kind of a narrow problem. I recognize that even as I kind of bring it up. And I say it from the perspective of a sometimes college instructor who really feels office hours are important. I'm so excited that we have them here at the school because at the college level, it's just like you say here. We know that there are 20 students in the class who really need to come in, but I've only got 3 coming in office hours. And so I grasp how important that is. As a parent here, I'm kind of in the funny position of being part of the carpool. And so we have multiple families, and the purpose of being part of the carpool for us is that we have a 35 to 45 minute drive if we're lucky, and we try and split it up. And so kind of altering that carpool can be challenging for us because we have some instructors who say only in the morning before school or only after school. And I respect that as an educator. I understand why those limits are there. They need to eat lunch rather than have office hours in the middle of the day, and I grasp that completely. My student is sometimes feeling stressed out by this. On the one hand, her teachers are really strict about when the office hours can take place. On the other hand, it's a challenge for our carpool. So I do recognize this is sort of a personal problem.
It's not personal though. It's something that I've heard more and more. For people in the online, the question is, if teachers have office hours before and after school, and you have a carpool with multiple children in it, how do you navigate that? And I understand that's an issue. It definitely is an issue. I don't know that there's a solution to it, except for each carpool kind of working out what they can do given. And again, lunchtime really is duty free for teachers. Some do have lunchtime office hours, but that means that they're teaching all day with no break, and that's really, really hard to do. But some of them volunteer to do that, and they can kind of take advantage of that, but the only really other time is before or after school. So it's kind of difficult, and I understand it is a difficult issue because you're not the only one who's brought that up, and I actually don't know how to solve that. So if anybody has a great idea, send it my way.
I guess the only thing I would say is I don't think there is a solution really.
Right.
Our solution in our carpool is if it's last minute and someone needs to get their kid there, you just got to get your kid there,
Right.
and that's how it is. And
Right.
it breaks up the carpool a little bit, and that's going to happen from time to time. The only thing I'd say is maybe teachers are already aware of this. If they're not, if once in a blue moon they could contemplate loosening some of that up. And I again, as a teacher, I understand you're
Right.
going to have real limits on your time because otherwise
It
you're
can
teaching
go
all
on.
day.
Yeah.
It's like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Right.
So I hope, I can also take the step of emailing teachers if it really comes to it. But I've left it in my daughter's, I've given her the responsibility to try and navigate some of that because I think she needs the experience of doing that. But
And so one of the things that I think has been really great is some of the students are emailing the teachers
yes, mine is
themselves.
one.
So they email, they might even take a screenshot of their homework and send it to them and say, what am I doing incorrectly there? Again, teachers also are, a lot of our teachers are parents and they go home and they're dealing with their own children. So they might not be able to right away answer, but sometimes that helps. And I know that there's not a lot of students that do that. So the ones that do that, I think they tend to respond to the student more than the parent oftentimes because it's like, wow, they've taken the initiative to actually email me with a really, great question that I can help them with. A lot of them also use Khan Academy for different, homework help, which is good. And then I think it's the Harvey Mudd homework line that our math department is using quite a bit. So those are also just resources outside. I hesitate with that a little bit because we have such a unique frame here, especially with the standards-based grading and the way that we're doing our math, which is CPM math, or the way that we're doing our English, which is Springboard. Unless they have that frame, sometimes the tutors might send them down a different road, and that's a little bit hard. But also, I think inside the classroom, it doesn't all have to be office hours. Inside the classroom, just being persistent and saying, you know what, you explained that, but I really don't get it. Can you explain it again? And having more than one student do that because teachers do assess. They do kind of say, oh, well, about half the class is getting this. Do I need to really reteach or not? And it's helpful for student input to say, yeah, you do. I mean, obviously you're not going to say, yes, you need to reteach, but yes, I don't understand, so that they can get a frame that they do need to reteach. And we're just about to start IABs, which are interim assessments for our SBAC assessments, which will be in spring. And that will tell the teachers a lot. So as they take these tests, it's going to tell them what standards the girls are making and what standards they're not, so they can go back and reteach, not retest. Which reminds me also about testing. I have to just kind of throw this in as well. So for some reason, especially some of our 7th graders have this frame that they are going to office hours to fix their test. And I keep saying to them, that is not the purpose of office hours. You are going to relearn the standards you didn't learn that is reflected on your test. So maybe you didn't learn this one standard. You're not going to fix a test. You're going to go relearn the standard. And yes, the teacher may give you a retest on that standard, but they might not either. They might just want you to learn it. And then later on, they'll do another assessment that you'll be able to show that you've gotten the standard. And it might not even be an assessment. It may be that they just see that you've gotten the standard and they can check that off. So it's really important for the kids and also some of the parents to understand it's not changing the grade on the test. That is not our frame at all. Grades matter, but honestly, in middle school, none of those grades are going anywhere. They really aren't. The only grade, I have to take that back, the only grades that will be on a permanent transcript are the Spanish classes that they're taking in 7th and 8th grade. Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 is part of the transcript for college. So, but other than that, unless they take algebra in 8th grade, those are the 3 classes that will count for middle school. Anything else is just kind of giving you a standard of their progress in the class and helping you to see where they need the skills they need to beef up before they get to high school, where the grades do matter for college. So, I want to take that like anxiety down a whole huge notch, because it's like, I understand that we are a very grade driven system and society and that kind of thing, but it really just doesn't go anywhere except for between you and your family. It doesn't go on any permanent record. It's not even anywhere. So just to kind of keep that frame with the girls, that, it's not about fixing the test, it's about fixing the standard that you don't know. And if you don't get these great standards that you need in 6th and 7th grade, you're gonna have real problems with the high school standards. This is all the foundational work. So it's very, very important that they do go to office hours, they do get the foundational work that they need. I've heard some parents also say, well, they're doing the same standards that they had in 3rd grade or 4th grade. I'm like, yes, they are. And they're going much deeper into them, and they're working much deeper. So for instance, something like English, they start really working more deeply in argumentative essay in 6th grade. They go much more deeply in 7th grade, and by 11th grade, they're doing where they can do their argument, they can do a counter argument to that argument, and then come back with a really good conclusion. So it's all kind of building. And so even though you might see the same standard of argumentative essay all the way from 6th grade through 12th grade, it's a really different way that they're learning and deepening that skill. So same thing with math, I've definitely heard, oh, well, they did that in 5th grade. They did it on one level, but they're going much deeper now. So any other questions for me?
I have a question. So the results of the PSAT are going to be sometime in December.
December, yeah.
What are we going to do with those results as, from the 9th grade student perspective?
I love that you asked that question. And also, we're going to do the 8th grade PSAT next year with our 8th graders. So these are, we use them in 2 ways. One is for the student to know these are the standards that I need to work on for the SAT once I get there in 11th to 12th grade. So it gives them all this time, 9th and 10th grade, and for the 8th grader, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade to learn those skills that they may need to learn. And then the other thing is the teachers look overall, and we look overall at a school with our English and math scores and see, are there certain areas that we need to make sure we're covering that we're not covering? So it's kind of 2 different frames that we use them for.
Is that their one time that they're going to be taking the PSAT
No.
from 9th grade? Or
Oh yeah, so they do it every year.
Every year.
For our school, so the school district itself pays for all 10th graders to take the PSAT.
Okay, so they'll do it again next year.
We pay as a school through donations our 9th grades to take it, and we will pay for our 11th grade. The 11th grade is the only one that matters, and it only matters for scholarships.
Right.
So, and all of this is experience for the SAT, which is the college entrance exam they'll take in 11th grade and 12th grade. Depending on what if their scores are great in 11th grade, they're done.
Mm-hmm.
But if they want to improve, they might take it at the beginning of 12th grade.
Okay.
And then there's SAT subject tests. Those are typically tests they'll take after the AP exam. So after AP Bio, they'll take the Bio subject test. After AP Chem, they'll take the Chem subject test. So they have those because some schools require them and some schools don't.
Right.
MIT is going to want the chemistry subject test and the calculus subject test. So there's different schools that want different tests. So, but we'll provide them. We are a testing station, so we'll be providing them as we move forward at our school.
What about the ACT? Do we have any thoughts on that as a community?
You know what, it's
I've
really-
heard so many different.
I think different students do better
Right.
on one or the other, and it's kind of just a learning style thing. So I don't have plans on offering the ACT here as a school, but there are schools locally that offer it, and because the SAT is used more by many schools. A lot of schools will just have either one because they're kind of comparable.
Right.
They're just kind of different. The different ways of testing, so different kids do different on either one.
Mm-hmm.
Some great questions. I know some of the middle school are like thinking, well, that's not something I want to deal with right now. But it is a very important for high school. That's why we give it every year.
So quickly.
Yeah, it goes quickly.
Yeah, and it's just as testing skills. So I'm
Exactly.
really grateful that we're starting in 9th grade for
Right, and then
just
also
so they get
the
used to taking it.
and it's
using
timed, and
themselves.
it's and then I think also the IABs in middle school especially kind of prepare them for that timed test that they have to take within a certain period, and also that's why some of the teachers wanted to do finals. Just get them used to it. It's not not high anxiety. We are going to do, we have a wonderful parent, Rita Black, who gave us some meditation techniques for the girls before they take tests. So we plan on doing that. We used that last year before the PSAT, and we're going to try to reinstitute that this year because it's just kind of like, let's take that anxiety level down and just remember these are learning experiences. So other questions?
Okay, you have
Emily?
3 more questions. So,
And then I need Fogala to have time.
okay, what would be Saturday review class to prepare for finals in December?
Not for finals, but for AP, the AP exam. Before the AP exams, we always have Saturday review sessions and also some after-school review sessions. All of our AP students right now are doing AP readiness, which is through UCLA, and they go to UCLA and they work with other students and teachers on the standards for the AP, but not for final exams. They'll be doing a review the week before in their classes.
And then middle school field trips on the horizon?
Yes, I know. We were just talking about that in our faculty meeting. We've had a lot of 9th and 10th grade field trips because people invite us to things at a college visit, or there's some, a Google visit, or there's been other things that have only been for high school, and it's been really frustrating because last year we were able to take our middle school to a lot of those because we were so small. But now with 320 students, we can't take the whole school. Last year with 160, we could take the whole school. But this year it's just, we can't do it. So yes, there are definitely plans for a 6th grade and 7th grade field trip before the end of the semester. I don't want to spoil it and tell you where they're going.
And then the last one is, are students taught taking notes and study methods?
Yes, they are. Yeah. They're taught them. Whether they use them, it's just like they were taught to use the planner, and half of them don't use the planner. And I keep like saying to them, okay, can I see your planner? And they're like, oh, I don't use it. Okay, well, no, you have to write it down so then you can look at it. And it doesn't help if you write it down and then you don't look at it when you go to So yeah, any reinforcement you can do with study skills is great. They actually are taught how to use flashcards in 6th grade, and then I know at least our 7th grade English teacher has deepened that a little bit with the flashcards with vocabulary. So they're kind of progressively working with them with flashcards and study skills. And I think one of the most important things for them to do is start anticipating what's the most important thing that they need to know about the lesson, because that's going to be what's on their test. That's what's the important thing for them to learn. So it's even a conversation that you can have with them, what do you think you're supposed to learn here? And you'll be surprised because sometimes they won't know. And then you can kind of go back through whatever the reading was, or the thing that they did in class, or the lab report. They're getting really great at lab reports. They start that in 6th grade. And I've noticed just the 7th grade lab reports are just amazingly more detailed and more thoughtful than the 6th grade. So we're hoping that by the time they're in high school, these lab reports are right. And it's the same, they do it the same all the way through. Any other questions for me? Well, have a wonderful, safe, family-filled Thanksgiving and a great week of break. And then we'll be right back in for a couple of weeks before holidays. Thank you.
Thank you.